Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for one more video here on the channel. And today we are taking you to the north of Portugal. We are going to be taking you to Porto. We are going to be visiting some places that I went, and of course I will give you my travel experience. This will be a big episode, so this will not just be a unique episode, it will be episode from Porto part 1 and part 2. Why? Because there's a lot to do in Porto. If you are a soccer fan, if you are a historical fan, if you just want to enjoy the city of Porto, so I want to detail all of this information in once. We will be seeing downtown Porto, the bridges of Porto, Estádio of Dragão from football Porto team, and many more. What to eat at Porto, what to drink at Porto, and stuff like that. But I will want you to do something really important before we start this video. That is, leave that like button. Yeah, leave it, and you'll see it will change color from gray to blue. And of course, if you're not subscribed to the channel, I'll ask you as well to subscribe. Yeah, subscribe to the channel for more content, for more videos. We're posting almost daily, but the schedule is from Monday. We will have these type of videos from my travel experiences around the world or places to visit in Portugal. On Wednesday, we will have episodes of Discover the Airlines, and on Saturday we have videos of news TV of model airports around the world, and of course about Lisbon International Airport, my model airport. So with no further delay, let's get started on this video of part 1 of Visit Porto, and let's explain what to do, what to happen, fun facts, etc, etc. So let's get started, boys and girls. So we go back in time to start to talk about the city of Porto. Portugal was actually gotten his name for the city of Porto back in time due to Portugal. Before Lisbon was the capital of Portugal, Porto was the detentor of this title. At the time, a Latin name for Porto was Portugal, and the region was known as Condado Portugalense. In English, that means Portos Cale, the country of Portugal. It was not very hard to see the difference between the Portugal name and Porto, but in English they were saying always O Porto, which means the Porto. And this is how many English people see Porto as O Porto and not actually Porto. But it is the exact same thing, and this is just a brief history about the name of this city of the north of Portugal. So a couple of years after, the city of Porto was nicknamed Invicta. In Portuguese, the word means that it never was won in any war, or never was conquered. It gets its nickname from the fact that during the 19th century, there was a civil war in Porto, and this civil war was never conquered in that city, and that they survived this war. And as they survived, the Porto population called themselves invincible, and that's how they called, right now they're called Invicta, so people that was never beaten. So citizens of Porto are as well known as tripeiros, which literally means the guts of the animal. The odd name is actually the great historical meaning. According to the well-known legend of the 15th century, Henry the Navigator needed a lot of supplies to conquest of Ceuta. As a result of the city and of the citizens, they all gave up their supplies they had, including their food, up to their last gram of meat. All of they had were literally animals' guts, or tripas, as they are known in Porto, as a result now of a famous dish that is called tripas à moda do Porto, which that means guts from the region of Porto. Because of this dish, the citizens of Porto are called tripeiros, what means animals' gutters. and it's a typical dish of Porto if you go. So if you go to Porto, you have to try this type of dish. But there's actually another dish that you have to try, and I'll speak of that soon in this video. So remember that I just said that we were going to be talking about another dish? Well, it's now. Yes, meet the francesinha, the most typical dish in the region of Porto, and it's served with this bread and meat, pork meat, a sausage, a typical Portuguese sausage, a sauce, and French fries. There's actually a restaurant in Porto. If you go and if you eat the entire francesinha, you don't pay anything. Well, in the entire history of this restaurant, there's only one person that managed to eat that francesinha. What am I talking about? Well, that is next. Like I said, the francesinha is a 5-layer sandwiches, and it's not those type of sandwiches that you will have a weak stomach and you will manage to eat it. No, you actually have to have a good stomach to eat it. Why? The francesinha is a very special and intense type of sandwich that, in my opinion, well, I would eat 2 of those easily. But it's composed of different kinds of meat, sausages, cheese, and a delicious beer tomato sauce. And it's usually accompanied by a huge sliced dish of fries and multiple cups of beer. So if you are those people that like to drink beer, you have to eat at francesinha at Porto. If you don't like this very spicy stuff, make sure that you request yours with no spice, because they will have that for you, and that will be available as well. And that's basically it for food. Let's go going on another thing that you can do in Porto, and it's a fun fact as well. So now that you passed lunch, you already ate your francesinha or your tripas à moda do Porto, well, it's time to relax next the Douro and enjoy a nice cup of Porto wine of the best of this region's city. Yeah, that's right. The famous Porto wine is produced actually next to the beautiful Douro River, and it's stored like right next to these like boats that you can see in the river. And on the other side actually of Porto, and that city is Vila Nova de Gaia, right across the river. Like I said, you can visit these actually places that they store the wine, and and you can actually taste as well this type of wine that they have there stored, and you can taste wine from this year, even from like 100 years ago. So that is something to do if you like red wine, or actually Porto wine. Well, let's go back in history a little bit. Did you know that Porto has 2 beautiful bridges? One of them is actually Ponte Dom Luís. The other one, well, I don't remember, but it is a nice bridge as well. I don't remember the name. I'm seeing the bridge. But did you know, this is the fun fact, that Gustave Eiffel, the person that built the Eiffel Tower, actually participated in the bridges of Porto. That's true. Before the project with the Eiffel Tower in France, Gustave Eiffel constructed, yes, I remember, constructed Pont Dom Luís, so the bridge Dom Luís, and as well the bridge Maria Pia. Soon they started to work in construction, and that's why Gustave Eiffel thought, well, I should build a structure like this in France. And that's how they built the Eiffel Tower, because if you see the Eiffel Tower and if you see actually Pont Dom Luís, you will see they're actually similar the way they were built. So that is something really nice to know about Porto and Gustave Eiffel. Basically, no one actually notices, only if you speak Portuguese. Did you know that Portuguese accents from different regions are actually different? Porto has its typical way to talk. Why? Because they cannot pronounce the V, like Victoria. For example, if you are called Victoria, they would say Victoria, not Vic, but Victoria. Everything that starts with a V, they will not say it. For example, if beer was beer, they would say beer. Like, I don't know, like vacuum, they will say vacuum. It's interesting, but Only if you're actually a Portuguese speaker, you will notice that. This will not be for this episode for sure, but I'm gonna just introduce you. One of the most gigantic European teams in Europe, or actually one of the best ones in Europe. I would, like, for all the respect for other big teams, because Portuguese soccer is really small, but if you hear the names of the Portuguese soccer teams outside in Europe, all of you will know FC Porto. Well, yes, FC Porto is the home of one of the three biggest football teams in Portugal, and they are the team that actually uses the uniform, blue and white strips, and they are actually one of the most best soccer teams that participate in UEFA Champions League and Europa League. The team's mascot is the magical dragon. They actually have won 7 international trophies, including UEFA Champions League, which was in 1987 and 2004, and the UEFA Europa League twice, once in 2003 and the other one in 2011. The other 2 of the 3 biggest clubs are actually located in Lisbon, and they are really rivals of FC Porto, such as Benfica and Sporting Club of Portugal. So the city of Porto is the actually second largest city in Portugal. They are currently away from Lisbon 4 hours by car, 2 hours by train, and 1 hour by plane if you want to connect the two cities. Due to the high demand, TAP Portugal now has 14 daily flights between these two cities of Lisbon and Porto, as the quite accessible price that you might find for actually like 20-40 euros, not even, and that's a way and back return ticket. So now let's talk a little bit about the city of Porto, as we already talked about fun facts. So basically, I don't know if you know, but the city of Porto is one of the oldest cities in the entire Europe, and it was registered as the world's heritage site by UNESCO in 1996 for its historical buildings and outstanding monuments. As you can see on the photos that I have passed by, or that I'm currently passing by, or that you are currently seeing right now, you can see how old these buildings are and how old these architects are. Well, yes, it's true. The Porto is really old, but it's really beautiful. So if you have time, lose a little bit of time and of course go to Porto, because you will like this city. Well, something else to visit in Porto is McDonald's. And you're saying, McDonald's, why? Because I don't want to go to Porto and eat fast food, you know what I mean? Well, I'm saying that because you might know, but the most beautiful McDonald's in the entire world, yes, in the entire world, is located at Porto. It's all in gold. As you can see from the outside, they have a beautiful statue as well. And you can actually Google it and check that I'm not lying. Yes, Porto is the most beautiful McDonald's in the entire world that you can visit inside and take outstanding pictures of it. So this is a must to do in Porto. So something that I didn't talk, and I would like to come back to the river of Douro, is going on sightseeing on these wooden boats that you can see on the river. These boats are called Rebelo boats, and they are the traditional Portuguese boats, wooden boats that were used for cargo back in times. What do they used to do for cargo? Well, they transported the Portuguese Porto wine into these wine caves. But you can actually navigate the region of Douro and do the entire river from one point to the topmost point of the river and enjoy the sightseeings of the city of Porto and Gaia. So this is something to do as well if you actually go and visit the city of Porto. So why not do that? But remember, actually every year on the 24th of June, on St. John's Day, there's actually a race of these boats that go from like one point to other in the river, and they try to compete and with these flags and stuff like that to see who is the fastest boat. So that is something to do in Porto if you actually go there. So this is it for part 1 of Visit Porto. Remember guys, part 2 will come up, and what are we going to be seeing in part 2? Just a little sneak peek. Well, not a sneak peek, but I will talk. We're going to be seeing the stadium of FC Porto, and if I can manage to find the pictures of Guimarães, I will talk about the city of Guimarães as well. This and something else might come if I find the informations, but this is basically it for this episode of part 1 of Porto. I hope you guys liked it. I hope you guys learned something new about the city of Porto and that you want to visit the city. For me, it's my favorite city, not because I'm a Porto fan, forget football, but I prefer Porto than I prefer Lisbon. Lisbon is nice to visit, yes, but I like history. I like how Portugal was discovered, was built, was made, and I like the Porto population. So this is my opinion about this city. So I hope you guys are fantastic, and that I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching guys. Thanks for being there. Don't forget to hit that like button and to subscribe, and I will see you on part 2 of Discover Porto. So see you next week. Bye bye guys.